everyone, it's Cindy です。カナダトロント郊外から発信しています。このチャンネルでは日本ではあまりお目にかかれないような話題やニュースを中心にお届けしています。
Well, of course, we're here in North America, so we focus on Canada and the increasingly strict lockdowns and increasingly abusive policing of them. The United States is more of a checkerboard. Different states have different approaches. But the United Kingdom, I fear, is becoming one of the most brutal locked down jurisdictions around. Because I think the lockdown in the UK may be the strictest in the world right now that the Australian state of Victoria has taken its foot off of its incredible lockdown. As you know, they had curfews and 5-kilometer rules for road checks. So what is going on in the UK, and what is this about a UK variation or mutation? Political party called the Reclaim Party, which is based in part on fighting against cancel culture and other wokeism. May I introduce you to Calvin Robinson, who joins us now via Skype. Calvin, what a pleasure to meet you on the show. I follow you so closely on Twitter. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head there in talking about this as a lockdown. So what we had back in March was a national lockdown where the whole country was in what we call a lockdown. But since then, we've introduced tiers. And tiers is lockdown by in a sly way. It's another wording for lockdown. So we have tier 1 through 4, and each tier has different restrictions on your life. Tier 4, which is what London is in right now, means you have to stay at home. You can't see people. You can't invite people into your own home. You can't go out. Restaurants are shut. Shops are shut. There's no socializing whatsoever. But the whole country is in one tier or another. So we are essentially in a lockdown. This is just our government's way of getting around it, because politically it doesn't look good to have a lockdown for the entire year. So what they've said is, yeah, we'll introduce tiers, and you guys might go down a tier, you might not. But essentially, most places in the country have gone up tiers. From most of the countries now in tier 3 or tier 4, which essentially means you're in lockdown. As you know, the UK is split up into different countries, and each country is handling this differently. Wales, for example, have had far worse restrictions than we've had over here in England. And Wales is now the biggest country in the world for cases per capita. So the lockdowns are not working, and we just keep doubling down on them. I don't understand why we're doing it. But essentially, at the moment, without incriminating myself, there's not a lot I can do without breaking the law.
In Scotland, or an advisor to British PM Boris Johnson, and they all come up with their excuses, but I think people quickly saw, this isn't a we're all in this together thing. It's the ruling class that has exempted itself versus the ruled class. In the States, you see this with Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done, and Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, going out to a fancy restaurant. Would you say that the public acceptance and goodwill towards the lockdown this time around has been smashed? Some people support it still, but others now see it as a political power play.
I'm hoping and praying that people are going to wake up and start fighting back. But at the moment, people are just willing to give their liberties away. I don't know why. 71% of the British public are in favour of another national lockdown. People just don't seem to care about their freedoms anymore over here. But for some reason, we're happy to give these up. And people keep saying, yeah, it's because we need to save lives. We need to save lives. But what they don't understand is that lockdown actually kills more people than it saves. That people over here are dying from not having cancer treatment, from not having diabetes treatment, from having missed diagnoses because doctors aren't seeing people because everything's locked down. Mental health crises are on the increase. Suicides are on the up. people are dying because of lockdown, yet we're obsessed with saving every single life from COVID. And I get it, saving lives is important. Nobody wants to see loved ones die, but at the same time, we can't save everybody's life. It is normal for people to die, and we need to come to terms with that and accept it. People are waking up very, very slowly. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fight back. The public aren't on our side yet.
But let me throw three things at you. Number one, I think some people might be telling the pollsters what they think the pollster wants to hear. I mean, that's wishful thinking on my part, but perhaps they're sort of shy skeptics who don't tell pollsters that. Another answer I might have to explain the 71% is that in the UK, there's a fairly large public sector, and even if they're, quote, locked down, they haven't lost a day's pay. So it's what we might call a staycation. You get paid, but you're at home, watch some Netflix. And then the last glimmer of hope, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here for a second, is that I know some media are starting to break ranks. The Daily Mail, which is a fairly popular tabloid, if I'm not mistaken, they've been pretty skeptical of late. And so I'm trying to find a silver lining to the statistic you just said, that 71% of Brits are just fine with this.
What you mentioned, staycation, and we have at the moment in the UK more people on state employment, more people getting handouts from the government, essentially taxpayer money, to stay at home than we've ever had in our history. So, it's in people's best interest to stay at home because they're getting paid to do nothing. And that is a problem. We've got a massive welfare state system at the moment, and encouraging people back into work is going to be difficult, especially since we're killing the economy. The high street is essentially dead at this point. We've closed all of the retail shops this close to Christmas, which is the key time for them to make up all of those lost revenues from the summer, etc. I think a lot of independent retail will be dead permanently. A lot of pubs will be dead. While people are comfortable staying at home, getting paid by the state to do so, they might not have anything to return to when this all ends. And when the checks stop coming in from the government and people have to return to work, but there is no work left, that might be the time when people rise up and think, actually, yes, this government has destroyed our economy, destroyed our livelihoods, and lost lives at the same time. What are we going to do about it? But by then, it might be too late. I don't know how to wake people up.
Wow. Okay, I understand that Canada has banned flights from the UK, which depresses me for a number of reasons. I hope I can talk to you again in the future, not just about the lockdown, but I know you're active in the Defund BBC project. We probably could learn a lot from you here in Canada about our CBC and how to check its power. So maybe in the future we could talk to you about